I might be crazy, but I think gaming has given us an edge. Just existing in life, I'm finding that some of the skills that I've learned through playing games and interacting in a digital landscape has created a monster. No, not a monster, but I see it in the way that I am just able to interact with people. Recently, I started to design video games. I started to wrap my head around the idea of coming up with what should be in a video game. I've been thinking about it a lot ever since I made one of my previous videos about Power World and why I think it got its success. I have been thinking about making video games specifically, and I tried stretching the idea, and in doing so, I really started to look at it from the developer side, and also having the perspective of being on the gamer side. Looking at it from the developer side, it's almost like you're trying to create tools for somebody to be able to use, right? Life doesn't have rules, but society creates rules, and that's how we live our life, and that's how we interact with each other. But video games are so incredible because they give you an opportunity to reconstruct rules. Rules are not the same in video games as they are in society. And so when you're constructing this new set of rules, you're also stripping away all of the restrictions that, physics has and that reality has. You can go much further than what's possible from a reality perspective, from walking around in the daylight perspective, right? You can unbind the player from reality, from their current life, from everything that they know, everything that they understand. You can strip that all away and give them the opportunity to truly express themselves. And it's your job as a developer to create interesting stimuli, interesting reasons, interesting mechanics that a player is going to want to play. Now, there's many types of games. There's, FPS games, there's MOBAs, there's tower defense games, roguelite games, RPG games, single player, multiplayer, survival games. There's a ton of different games, and they've all branched off into their own unique landscapes and have innate reasons for their success built into them. There's a reason that these genres have the success that they have. I think it has to do with the growing art form that is video game design. And there are mechanics that are added on to previous genres that then create new genres because those mechanics are so foundationally important to the world of gaming that they've shaped whole landscapes. Think Dark Souls, right? They went down a road that no other developer at the time really wanted to go down, which was putting a mechanic in the game that involved death, that involved your player dying. Now, other games had those types of mechanics. Mario has the extra life, and there's Galaga that has the extra ship, and you have multiple ships at a time, and those are technically your lives. And that's an interesting mechanic, and I'm sure that's been formative for other video games that have come since then. But for a game like Dark Souls, that is an RPG game that is meant to kill you over and over and over again, the reason for their death mechanic is to let you die. They have the good bonfire checkpoint mechanic that allows you to strategically die and not lose all of your resources, but it's not easy. You don't just die and lose all of your resources and get all your resources back. You die and then have to make it back to where you were in order to gain your resources. So now you have this will they, won't they of should I go forward or should I go back to the bonfire, get my health back, and then try again and really figure out these these enemies in between, right? You have an area in front of you with a bunch of enemies that you're struggling to get past, and you finally do it. You finally get there, and you've gone through all of your pots, all of your health, you've used resistances, you're just trying to figure out these enemies, and you finally do it. You finally beat, you clear the landscape, and now you gotta decide, do I move forward? Probably not. I'm gonna die, and I'm gonna have to do all that over again, and I don't know if I can. I'm gonna lose all of my resources, so I'm just gonna go back. I'm gonna go back, and I'm going to sit at the bonfire, maybe level up, give myself a better chance to come at these guys with more health, more damage, whatever it may be that you want to level up for. And it's such an interesting mechanic that invites the player to invest their mind, their consciousness into the game. It invites them to grow a personality in the way that they play these types of games. And that is such an amazing idea. And I'm sure that this is involved in other areas. I'm sure that there's other fields. It's hard to refer to this as a field because it feels like such a new idea, a new infant stage. I know it's been around for a little bit now, but comparing it to a field like coding that I also have a little bit of experience with, specifically the language Python, because in learning Python, there's this expansive situation around libraries, which are packages and tools that developers will create to make their workflow easier and then share it with other developers to help make their workflow easier. And so eventually you have these all-encompassing libraries of code that make parts of developing obsolete, right? It's the way that developers work together starts to make expanding faster and easier. It invites new developers to be able to grow quickly because they don't have to waste their time doing really basic processes and learning how to perfect certain processes. They get to spend their time working on higher level programming rather than the nitty-gritty lower level stuff that is easy to not screw up but make inefficient. And it's just paving the way for easier development in the future. And the fact that both coding and video games are in this booming tech industry, I think is really showing as to how they're both so influential and so powerful in their own right, where coding is able to develop tools and conveniences. Gaming is allowing people to develop themselves in a way, and developers to create tools for people to more comfortably develop themselves in an out-of-body, conscious-driven way, right? You, every time that you play a game, are chipping away at the barrier between self and the way that you're interacting with the world around you. There's a unique experience that I have from years ago when I was playing League of Legends. I know, don't get on me about League of Legends. It's a nasty habit that I need to quit. But there's, I say unique, but I mean to me and to my experience. It's a unique experience for me playing League of Legends. For those who don't know, it's a top-down game where you're controlling a character and making them move around. You end up going down a lane, and each lane has its own dynamics to it. I would pick one of the solo lanes, which means I'm facing off against somebody else 1 versus 1. There's a person on the other side of the lane that is trying to stop me from marching my minions down the lane, marching the ads that are on my team, marching them down the lane and trying to attack their tower, eventually getting towards the Nexus, which is their home base, trying to destroy that. There's a person on the other side of the lane that's trying to do the exact same thing to me while stopping me from doing that to them. And in this situation, I end up kind of getting to know this other individual and the way that they interact. It's like having a dancing partner that you're going out dancing every Saturday night, and it's a partner thing where you start to understand their moves and how they move and what they like to do, the way that they go. You know, I don't know. I don't dance. I don't know why I'm acting like I can hold up this metaphor, but but you start to kind of understand that in this game, this player that I happen to be playing against, when I throw an ability at them, they usually dodge left, right? Or they dodge right. Whichever it may be, they dodge in a specific direction more often than not. And so I would keep throwing the ability that I don't really care about to the left because I know they dodge right, and keep throwing it to the left, keep throwing it to the left. Then I get to the ability that I do care about and I throw it to the right because that's where they're comfortable throwing or dodging towards, and it hits them. There's just certain mechanics that you just understand. I'm now interacting with this player, I'm dancing with this player, and I get them. I'm in their head, we're communicating in a way. And that's a skill that I've seen directly translate to driving. When I'm out on the road and I'm driving on the highway and I'm interacting with all of the cars around me, that's what I innately understand what signaling is, why to use turn signals, how to interpret people's signals, how to interpret when people are speeding up, slowing down, when people are wanting to change lanes, wanting to exit, wanting to enter. It helps me kind of understand their movement and their reactions. Now, that's a very basic, not saying gaming gives you an edge because you can know that this person is probably going to cut you off when you're driving. That's not the edge I'm really talking about. I'm talking about what I was kind of alluding to before about you stripping away the blocks that you have about your identity. You are, for hours a day, being you, interacting with a system that has no limitations, where you can experiment and decide who you want to become. And these are conscious decisions. This is a conscious interaction. It's not because you have to, it's because you want to. It's because this is a game that's created by a developer that you trust, that has created an environment for you to be able to play however you would want to play, do the things that you want to do. And they've created a sandbox. I think that's a proper term given its weight in gaming culture. They've created a sandbox for you to test different thoughts, test different interactions, ways you interact with things, test different mentalities that you have. They're creating a good way for you to test. One of the things that's really grown, why I was confusing identity with creativity before, was because I've grown to be more creative because of the games that I play. My identity has grown in the way of being more creative because of the games I have chosen, because of the types of games I play. I like to play a lot of RPG games that have lots of different choices for your character to be making, because I really like the idea of making a build and using those kind of tools, abilities and mixing abilities that developers put in the way. One of the very popular ones that I like to play is Diablo. Recently, it just got a rework that made it a lot more fun to play, so I've been playing that a lot. Another one that I've been playing for years and years and years is Borderlands. These types of games give you the ability to imagine a build and make it happen. See a tool that they put in front of you, such as a gun in Borderlands or a sword in Diablo or a legendary aspect or whatever it may be in Diablo. They put this in front of you and you can imagine a build from it. You can imagine a way to play the game different than you currently are playing in order to do more damage and express yourself through gameplay, which is such an amazing thing. And bringing this mindset into the side of developers rather than a gamer is eye-opening, because that's what they're trying to do. Is they're trying to give you the tools and the ability to be creative. They're trying to let you be you in this game. Play the game how you want to play it. They're not giving you instructions on how to play it. They're just giving you hurdles that you're gonna have to pass, such as bosses or, a horde mode or survival run. They'll put those kind of obstacles in your way to challenge you to be able to use your imagination to come up with a build, something that will work, create a system of your own, of their mechanics that ultimately will let you pass the obstacles that they've put in the way. There's something about that just feels so powerful to my sense of self. You know, gaming is the avenue in which I found this strength and this part of my life and this, I guess, aspect of life in general. I just think that since gaming was that medium that helped me find this about myself, it also allowed me to really understand that relationship in an abstract kind of out of body experience type of way. I don't know, it feels like a conscious development rather than I just happened upon the feeling that I'm a creative, right? But I don't think I'm alone in this. I think you clicked on this video because you're here with me. And I really am just trying to start a conversation, I guess. But it's a conversation I've been having with myself for years and years. Oftentimes, when I'm sitting down and playing a game that I've played 100 times before, I already have, 400 hours logged into this game, right? And I sit down and I play the game for another playthrough. I'm kind of on autopilot and just thinking about this kind of stuff. And these are the developments that I've made. This is where I'm at. And I've realized that creativity and gaming is kind of two very important aspects of my life that I need to be looking at more intentionally. But I am interested to know where you think gaming fits into your life, and if you can relate at all to this, and what does gaming do for you, right? Because as I think about this, as I talk about this, I realized that the gaming and creativity is probably unique to me. I mean, not unique to me, but isn't as direct of a relationship as I was kind of thinking it was at the beginning of trying to make this video and coming up with this idea. So I'm interested to see what you have to say. So leave a comment down below if you want to. If you don't, that's fine too. But think about it. And I'll catch you in the next video.